The European Union's been on the warpath against citizenship by investment in recent years. You've seen the Caribbean citizenship programs double their prices. You've seen at least one of those Caribbean countries now about to impose a residence requirement where you now have to go and spend time in the country to become a citizen on top of donating. And the EU did that to its own member state as well. The tiny, pro-business, low-tax country of Malta for years offered what they called the MEIN. It was an investment program where exceptional investors could get citizenship subject to the most stringent due diligence probably anywhere on earth, more stringent than anything that other EU countries are doing to let people in and give them citizenship and passports. But the EU shut it down. And for many people, that shut down the one public way to get a European Union member state passport. And Americans couldn't simply come and say, hey, I want my kids to be European and go to European schools and have this great optionality for the rest of their lives. Here's €1 million, like, give it to me. And this is how it works. So here's the deal. They didn't call it citizenship by investment. You weren't allowed to call it citizenship by investment. And it wasn't really a pure play citizenship by investment because you did have to go and spend at least a little bit of time there. You had to get a place to live. You had to establish some connections to the country. It was more involved because that's what happens in European Union countries. Things are more involved. If you want to get a bank account or buy a property or get a citizenship, you are going to be in for more bureaucracy than if you go to a country in the global south. That's the kind of thing I've been telling you for years, and you have the choice to choose. And unlike the MEIN program that the European Union busybodies shut down, this one comes with no fixed investment ticket. So before it was, one price, and then at one point they raised it. It was like, okay, €750,000 plus a little bit extra for all your dependents, and hey, you donate that and give a little money to a charity and get a place to live for a number of years, and if you pass the due diligence, which not everybody did, you will be a citizen. We've been talking about these programs for years where, Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, spoke at Nomad Capitalist Live, our annual event, and he told us, hey, I went and met the Serbian president, and he gave me citizenship. Like, that's the president's right. It's a constitutional right. And so if you do things that the government in various, particularly European countries, but countries all around the world approve of, you can go through a process and somebody might recommend you and you could be granted citizenship in that country. Austria is a country in the European Union that does that. And even though Austria doesn't allow dual citizenship, Malta does, but Austria doesn't. Exceptional citizens are exempt from that requirement. There is no, you have to, donate 1 million, and if you do that and you pass due diligence, you're in. What they are keeping is a roughly 12 to 18 month timeline, which is likely faster than programs like Austria. And so the bottom line is what this allows is if you were a non-EU national, if you're American or Canadian or Australia or from New Zealand or from South America or wherever in the world, and you want to say, myself, my spouse, my kids, my family, I want them to have the ability to live in Europe. Well, this allows that because what people don't often realize is if you're a Maltese citizen, you're a member of the entire European Union community. And therefore, if you want to go live in tax-friendly Ireland with their non-dom program, you can do that. You just show up and you register. If you want to go and live in Spain, you can do that. If you want to go and live in France, I don't know why you would do that, but you can because you're a member of a European Union state. And so whether you want to live in Malta or not, it's a pretty country. Things are pretty slow. It's not the most exciting place to live. They don't have direct flights everywhere in the world. It's a good place to retire. It's a good place potentially to raise your kids. It's also a place that you can get citizenship in and say, hey, I'm going to travel the world as a Tier A passport holder. And if I'm American, for example, we've had plenty of clients that back when Malta had a streamlined program, that's like, I'm just going to renounce my US citizenship. Why do I need to be a US citizen when I have all the privileges of traveling around the world with none of the identity baggage, because who hates the Maltese, of the United States? And so this is a great passport for someone who can afford it and saying, you know what, I'm probably not going to want to be a US citizen in the future, or hey, I'm Canadian and I think that they're going to start imposing restrictions on us eventually because they're talking about that. Hey, let me get this, tiny little country. It's very pro-business. They don't want to bother anybody. They're obviously bucking the trend of what the EU wants. Let me get this passport and I'll have all the travel privileges and all the flexibility, and I can live in 30 different countries at whim. So if COVID happens or if taxes go up or whatever, I don't just choose from 1 or 2 countries. I have 30 baked in countries that I can live in, on top of being able to go anywhere in the world and being respected because I'm an EU citizen. So let's talk about how it works. We'll talk about the eligibility in the process, the requirements. And by the way, Malta is the #1 rated passport on this year's Nomad Passport Index. That is a coincidence, but they allow dual citizenship. It's a friendly place to live. It's It's a safe place to live. They're not, harassing their own citizens with like, you have to join the military. It's just a place where you have a passport and it's very lightweight. They respect you as an investor. There's other programs in the European Union, by the way, that we've figured out over the years. There's one country, it's like, hey, if you invest 100 million euros in our country, we'll give you a passport. There was another country, hey, if you invest like 2 million euros in green energy and create a bunch of high-paying jobs, we'll give you a passport. Malta is more flexible in that, hey, if you donate money so we can like renovate the opera house in some town square somewhere, and maybe the local politicians will recommend you and it works its way up and you can become a citizen. Or if you buy a company, right? So it'll be interesting to see like what kind of investments Malta wants people to make, but it will be non-transactional. So what are you adding to the Maltese economy? Like what can you contribute? There is an exceptional contribution required, which I think could possibly just be a donation. Hey, like listen, here's money for your country and here's what I'm doing and here's why I'm a good citizen, and what they're also requiring is genuine ties to Malta. So this is what they had before with their more streamlined program, the MEIN. Again, you have to have the permanent residence through real estate. They want you to have a real estate. They want you to have an address. They want you to have a place to live. They want you to occasionally go there. They might ask for donations to local charities again, but really this is going to be the minister's discretionary approval. You want to come to somebody like Nomad Capitalist, where we have outsourced vendors that we work with that are flexible in an honest way. I am the goody two-shoes of the offshore world. There's nothing untoward going on here, but you want some flexibility in that like you're not going to be shoved into the same path as everybody else. And so we have great people in Malta that we can help you work with and kind of manage the entire process. You go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply if you'd like to work with us on getting a second citizenship, whether it's in Malta. Occasionally someone says, help me with Austria. Occasionally someone says, I'd rather have citizenship in Eastern Europe. And really my belief is you ought to have citizenships around the world. Malta citizenship is what I call a T or A passport. You can travel pretty much anywhere with it. There's plenty of other passports you can get to fill in those gaps. You could live in Europe. It's just, you have kind of the best of the best passport. Number one of the Nomad Passport Index. And so this could be kind of the crown jewel of your passport portfolio, but understand it's going to cost more. And when I was telling everybody, over the years, Malta's citizenship is more expensive now. You should act before the program gets whacked. I meant it. It was not a sales tactic. It's going to probably cost people more now to get the permanent residence through real estate and then work your way up. What are some of the things you can do? Profiles, science, technology, entrepreneurship, arts, culture, sports, philanthropy. You have to show measurable national interest, public benefit, long-term commitment, integration. You will likely, under their timeline, be a citizen in 12 to 18 months from when you start. So that's pretty fast. I mean, the European Union minimum for naturalization is generally about 5 years, plus you wait for processing, so really 6 or 7 years. In a country like Ireland, for example, that's pretty by the book, you're going to wait 6 or 7 years and have to spend a lot of time living there to get their passport. So 12 to 18 months, it's pretty fast. But you're still showing a long-term commitment. You're still showing integration. You still have to prove how is this going to benefit the country. And how you do that? Science, technology, entrepreneurship, arts, culture, sports, philanthropy. So, you've seen in some of these countries, if you're an Olympic athlete and Malta wants you to win them a gold medal, that could be an opportunity. For those of us who can't do that, philanthropy. Can you make a donation? What is your proposal? That's the kind of thing where you want people who not only have the local expertise, but international expertise to guide you through. Entrepreneurship. Can you start a business? This could be, maybe you go and start your business in Malta. They have relatively reasonable taxation. One of the things that we do, when you work with Nomad Capitalist, we make your plan, and when we go to execute it, we generally say, hey, here's 12 months of support. You're probably not going to need it. Let's work as quickly as we can, but you're going to get 12 months of support. The one thing, when I was really managing, I said, well, for Maltese cases, you got to give them 18 months of support because it does take longer. It's the one it was the one citizenship. Now you see a few other programs taking longer, but it was, historically the one citizenship that took longer than others. And so in 18 months, that's kind of the whole process that you're going to go through. The reason I say you want international expertise is you want to make sure that you're evaluating all the other citizenship programs out there that are available to you before you commit to this level of complication. It's possible that a golden visa, even though they are becoming more strict and some of them have gone away. Possible a golden visa with residence rights in Europe, plus a stack of other lesser passports, could be just as good as much cheaper and give you better optionality and investment options and return on your capital and all that. It's possible there may be other options in the European Union for certain types of people to get citizenship that are less involved and have less bureaucracy. Again, there's so many different possibilities. Make sure you evaluate all your options, and we do that at nomadcapitalist.com/apply. If you want to go with this option, exceptional achievements are needed. You'll need to speak English or Maltese. If you're watching this, I would guess that you do. You'll need health insurance. That's a big one in the EU. Of course, you'll need a clean criminal record. At one point, they were rejecting 25 to 30% of people. And that could just be people, I think, sometimes in Malta where it was like, this guy's kind of controversial. There's nothing wrong. He's never done anything wrong, but like he's a little controversial. I think that people like that could sometimes not be the best fit. I'm not sure. Listen, maybe I'm too much of a loudmouth to be a good fit. I don't know. But you need to have a clean record, and they kind of have to like you. It's a small country. They're going to look at, do we like this person? Is this person, are we going to be happy that they're Maltese? You can include your spouse or your partner. So that is a benefit over some of the programs where it's like marriage only. And you can also include financially dependent, unmarried children up to 29 who have no children. So it's you and your partner and your dependent children. And so if you go through all that, you're going to get the #1 ranked passport on our Nomad Passport Index, featured on CNBC and all over the world. It's the fastest route to a European Union passport without a long residence or learning a new language. Again, there are certain types of people where if you have certain kinds of businesses or certain kinds of investments, there may be a limited number of other options, either in the EU or adjacent Eastern European countries. But Malta will be, I imagine, the gold standard and will come with a corresponding amount of effort. So you want to make sure you have the right team, both international and local, to make sure that you're not having a big burden placed on you, in addition to making sure this is worth it and that there's not a cheaper or easier option or options that would serve your needs better. Of course, no dual citizenship restrictions in Malta. They're very flexible with that. You get visa-free travel to about 188 countries, and you theoretically have access to visit the United States with an ESTA. So people who are planning on giving up U.S. citizenship or who wanted to go there, ostensibly, if they meet the terms of the U.S. ESTA, can get an ESTA and go to the U.S. I think that the U.S. is kind of aware that people have gotten passports from Malta. They're probably not going to bother most people. Again, if you're a loudmouth like me and you show up with a Malta passport, I would imagine they'd ask you some questions because they, in the US, don't particularly like getting passports through monetary donations. They've made that clear. If you're just kind of a normal person, probably works. So that's a benefit, is the ability to travel, again, pretty much everywhere, including the US and Canada and Australia, New Zealand. And what I would tell you is, I've made this mistake myself sometimes. If you think, hey, maybe one day I need that, do it now. Not only it may not last, and we've seen that, but also, and the price may go up, but also the conditions may become more difficult. And so let's say you renounce US citizenship and you get rejected for a visa and they say, oh, I'll just go and do Malta. Well, historically, under the old rules, Malta could not give you a passport because otherwise the US would say, we don't want you coming here. You just let anybody who got rejected come and get a passport. But even if Malta would give you a passport, the US ESTA system would largely reject you. And so I think that sometimes people say, hey, let me try it out with this cheap passport, and if that doesn't work, then I'll spend the money. If you have the money to spend, it may be worth spending and getting the best passport you can now if the things that best passport offers matter to you. I don't particularly care much about going back to the United States, but I know many people do, especially many people considering renouncing. So this now gives you an option, if you're planning on renouncing US citizenship in the future, to get this passport in your hand and then potentially be able to go back to the US before you decide to renounce, and then you kind of like have to hope and pray it's going to work. And so if you can afford a high quality passport like this, especially if you have kids and your kids could then work and study in Europe at a deep discount and they could like work and live anywhere they want for the rest of their life, that's pretty valuable. That's optionality that's worth it for some people. So if Europe's important to you, this is good news. It's going to be a bit less streamlined. If you'd like our help, you go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply, and we'll be happy to help you build your passport portfolio, whether it's Malta or dozens of other possibilities.